The Legacy of Wisdom Project gathers and publishes answers to many of humanity's most pressing questions from some of our most experienced and profound leaders.
Well, that brings up the question I have here about our personal responsibility for healing, being active in this.
Yes.
And we have, especially in the New Age, we have this concept of the inner doctor, some kind of tuning into something in which we can self-heal. Not that there's some magical inner doctor.
Right.
But
No, I'm all for that. I'd like to say we need, like I said it a long time ago, awaken the Buddha within. We need to awaken the healer within. And there's a lot of levels of healing besides physical healing. Physical health, mental health, spiritual health, emotional health, relational health, financial health, environmental health, societal health, global health. So we can also heal the inner conflicts in our own mind between different parts of ourselves and inner contradictions. We can heal the conflicts between ourselves and our mate, our family members, our bosses, colleagues, employees. So it's all part of the healing, and we have to participate in that, I believe. And it's incumbent upon each of us to be the healers that we want to see healing the world. We have to awaken the healer within. I don't know if it's an inner doctor with a white coat, but I think it's an inner healing energy that's inner and outer, that's within each of us and greater than any of us. It's transcendent over any of us, like a higher power, this inner power, and yet it's innate in each of us, immanent in each of us. And that's the inner healer. And just at the simplest level, we have to participate in our healing. The doctor can't heal us. The doctor can give us advice. The doctor can prescribe medicine, but it's up to us to take it as prescribed, not just to buy it and put it in our medicine cabinet. And spiritually speaking too, the teachings, the masters, the traditions advise us and have a lot to offer. It's a spiritual treasure trove, a gold mine. But we have to mine the ore and refine it and use it ourselves to get the benefit out of it. Just like menus don't alleviate hunger without the eating and intake and absorption part. That's our job.
what about trust? How do we, in this self-healing aspect, find trust for what we're doing? Does it matter which thing we do?
Yeah, I think it matters. It may not matter as much as we think, though, but it matters. I didn't address the issue of HMOs and the health system before. We were talking about the inner healer and participating and taking responsibility ourselves. And of course, how you pay for it is one thing, and what insurance pays for it or what insurance you have. Like I try to have the best insurance I can that I can use anywhere. So they're not telling me exactly what doctors to go to. But then they don't pay for things like acupuncture, just to mention one. Do they pay for chiropractic? I can't remember. But so I go anyway and I try to manage to pay for it. But I think that's not the real issue. I think the real issue is trusting yourself enough to be able to discriminate and discern which decisions of mine are yours and which are the systems or the experts. Because you can read so many different kinds of research. And first of all, it's all on the internet and one can hardly sort it out, but you can always get a second and a third opinion that might be very different. So as an adult, it's still up to you to decide which one you take and which one you don't take. One doctor says have a back operation, the other one says do Pilates and yoga. Number 2 sounds a lot better to me. Although I don't really want to have to do all that, but a back operation? If it was take a pill or do Pilates and yoga, I might just take the pill, but it's never that simple anymore. So I think we have to be very honest with ourselves. If we're seekers of truth, we have to be honest with ourselves. Self-deception is one of the worst things in life and the spiritual life especially. Self-deception. We really have to not fool ourselves. It's worse than lying to others, I assure you. And with this healing thing, there's so much denial and so much pretend about it that, I don't even know where to begin. So I don't really blame or worry that much about the doctors and the system, and there's a lot we could say about that. But really try to make the best decisions possible and ask for help. A lot of us especially guys, have a hard time asking for help. And that itself is healing. of our pride and other ego issues, just asking for help could be very healing, just to begin with that. And try to discern the good opinions and factor in different people's biases, including one's own. So I like less invasive, more alternative complementary medicine. But then sometimes I don't do what the allopathic regular doctor says for way too long, and I have to pay the price because I've been doing other things that are less proven to help.
Tough issue.
It's a tough issue, and it's a very interesting one. Also, I think it's very important to explore and experiment with your inner healer, with like the breath, with breathing in energy and filling up with energy and light and visualizations. And if you can, if you like to, try to work with something that works for you, like your higher power, inner power, whatever you call it, or chakras and channels and energy. In Tibetan Buddhism, we use the Medicine Buddha healing mantra and the blue Azure blue Buddha image and put it on our afflicted part and mantra it and penetrate it with light and effect a lot of release there. So even if it's just a placebo effect, the placebo effect has been shown to be 40% effective. It's almost as good as some drugs. I'm serious. So we have these kind of healing practices, and they're not just mumbo jumbo. And even the old mumbo jumbo of the witch doctors, had a lot of wisdom in it. The witch doctors knew about quinine and aspirin. They just called it tree bark from that tree or that tree. And they used those things. And so we also can heal ourselves with some of these energy and pranic practices, because the power of awareness, of intention and attention, the inner light, the spirit of consciousness is so powerful. It's so profound. We can heal ourselves of many of things that ail us, physical and mental and spiritual, ourselves, with a little help from our friends, the invisible array or our cohorts and comrades.
Okay. Can you express that in a way that for those people who outright would reject simply from the language, how they could approach something like that in a way that for them is usable?
Yeah, I don't think it's La La Land. Everybody almost.
I know you don't.
Yeah, the language. Everybody has beliefs. That's the first thing, including atheists and agnostics. And most people do relate to what I call the invisible array, and I'm not even talking about angels and gods and goddesses, just like their grandparents and parents and uncles and teachers and siblings and benefactors and friends that are in their mind, that are in their heart, that are not necessarily in the room. That's the community, that's the invisible array that supports us, our community that we're part of, our network, the web that we're all part of. And there's a lot of juice and healing and love and help in that. And we can draw on that. And then, even more so, a lot of people believe in God or higher power. And that's part of that too. So there's a lot of healing traditions that use that. Mary Baker Eddy in Christian Science, like I'm not an advocate, but they say they know how to get out of the way and let the divine come through, and that each of us is a healer and we can each help heal each other. I like that kind of talk. And I understand that, and I've seen it to be true. And there's a lot of different kinds of healing and helpful tools and techniques in this world that we don't entirely understand. Acupuncture and other things that we didn't know about before has been well shown and used by people. Even the ambassador to China had his appendix removed. And it happened in Beijing, I think, and they gave him acupuncture as an anesthetic. And he said, "Oh, what? It worked. Acupuncture as an anesthetic to have my appendix surgically removed." He became a believer. I mean, there's a lot going on in this magical, wonderful, mysterious world. So I think part of the healing is to open our minds a little bit and not to believe everything we currently think.